The stream is live. Right, I can't hear you, Lilia, nor can I.
Have you pressed the mic button?
Does
The
it
wee mic
matter?
button down at the bottom.
I've pressed the microphone button. I can't hear Lilia. I'm on now, but I'm in the show. Everyone can see and hear me, but I can't press that on and off.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, its volume is up. It's up. Mm.
Well, do you know what?
I've got it on Do Not Disturb because I don't want anybody to disturb the thing. Lilia, can you give me a wee thumbs up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, right, that's fine. Just leave it. I can't.
Sorry guys, we're having a little bit of a confusion here because this software that I am using allows me to go out over all the channels, and Janice didn't realise that, so she went live in the group, but I wanted as many people as possible obviously to see it, so we are just organising. You know what it's like when you start doing technical stuff. So anyway, you know Janice from Nourish. If you don't know, Janice has created a phenomenal tribe, Nourished by Nature. She's got a phenomenal amount of people in there teaching them all about the microbiome and how ferments and all its various forms can really help the microbiome and the balance of the bioterrain. So she's going to come on very shortly, and she is going to demonstrate a carrot kraut. So you need carrot, salt, and a jar. Very simple, very cheap, which is obviously something else that we would love. Janice runs courses online, offline. Here she comes now. I'm just going to.
Right. I'm here. I can hear you. So sorry. I'm sorry.
Awesome. So I've just been introducing you, Janice, and without any further ado, I'm going to leave the stage and let you do your demo. Right. Then I'll come back on and we can have a wee quick Q&A. Okay.
Right, that's brilliant, Lilia. What I'll do is I'll need to clip my phone up on the stand so everybody can see me all right. Okay. Right, that's great. Sorry, apologies to everybody. But anyway, never mind. It's just how it goes. Right, let me clip this up. Right. Okay. Get it on the stand. Without it falling off. Right. I don't know if that's right. I'll stick it up a bit so everybody can see me. Right. Right, I hope everybody can see me. I don't know what the... Well, you can just let me know. I hope everybody can see me okay. I'm in the kitchen, so apologies about that, guys. That's just my usual. Me and technology are not pals, but I maybe need to change that story. Stop telling myself that. Do a bit of tapping around it. Anyway, well, let's just go on with it. What I was going to say is carrot kraut is a fantastic thing. Fermented foods in general are just absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love them. I couldn't imagine my life without them. This month in Heal Scotland, we're doing the intermediate fasting, and I know that cravings come up a lot for people. And to be honest, when you start to eat fermented foods, what happens is your cravings totally change, and you stop craving sugar, which is food for the bad guys, and you start craving like fermented foods and fibre foods that are actually really good for you because they're supporting our good gut microbes. And again, as I said, all our cravings come from the gut, so it's our wee gut microbes that are calling all the shots. They're sending messages to your brain to go and tell you what to eat. So I have actually got a good balance in my gut because of all the stuff that I eat. So this is the stuff that I crave all the time. So what I'll do without further ado, I'm going to show you how you make a simple carrot kraut. So obviously you need carrots. Now what you want to do when you're fermenting anything, you don't want to use carrots or any veg that's started to go off. You want to use the freshest vegetables that you can get. You don't need to use organic. If you can get organic, that's brilliant. If not, just buy the freshest carrots that you can. You don't have to peel them. In fact, I wouldn't peel them at all because you've got a lot of really beneficial microbes in the skin of the carrots. So just give them a wee bit of a wash. What you want to do for a carrot kraut to speed up that fermentation and that sort of process is you want to grate the carrots. What I do is I've got a food processor, right? So I just grate them in my food processor. I've got one of these grating discs, and one of the things that people say to me all the time is they don't have time to do stuff. And literally, if you've got a bag of carrots, kilogram of carrots, whack them through a food processor, it takes literally a minute to grate them. If you've got a hand grater, it might take you a wee bit longer. But, you know, the thing is, it's just totally worth it. The effort is totally worth, you know, any bother that you have to go to. And these foods are just incredible. I keep saying it. I'm even wearing it. I've got on my fermented sweatshirt. Because the more that I eat these foods, the better that I feel, and the more that I want to share it with everybody. Right, so back to carrots. So we need carrots, we need a plastic bowl. The other thing we need when we're fermenting things is salt, right? And the quality of salt is pretty important as well, right? I mean, Scottish people love salt, but sadly, mostly it's table salt, which is not the best salt because that's got additives in it. It's usually got anti-caking agents, and that's not the best. So the salt that I use is the fine pink Himalayan salt. That's what I use for all my ferments and all my sourdough and everything else. So that's the one I use. Any natural salt is fine, but you want to make sure that it's not coarse salt. You want to make sure it's nice and finely ground, because again, it's about a surface area thing. If you've got big lumps of salt, it's going to take ages to get pull the brine out of the veggies. So you want a nice fine salt, preferably not table salt. So you can buy the pink Himalayan salt. I think Home Bargains, B&M have it, and it's really not that expensive. So just buy the fine pink stuff if you can find that. So put that there. Other thing you need is a glass jar to ferment it in. I love these clip top jars, the glass clip top jars. You can buy them anywhere, actually. All the supermarkets have got them. Asda's got them. I think they've gone up in price to £2. Used to be £1.50. You can get them in IKEA. You can get them all over the place. And the idea behind these is you can clip them totally shut. And once your carrots start to ferment, what happens is they do create some gases, fermentation gases. And what will happen is, if you can have the jar with the seal, it means that the gas can get out through that rubber seal, but oxygen can't get in. Fermenting veggies of any kind, it is an anaerobic process, right? So we don't want oxygen in it. We don't want air to get in it. So we want to keep that shut, clipped tight while your vegetables are fermenting. Now, if you do your carrot fry, you just have a normal jar and you just screw the lid on, what will happen is pressure can build up in that jar. And to be honest, sometimes, depends on how active, how fresh your carrots are, you know, and everything else. It depends. Sometimes the jar will crack because of the pressure, or when you try and open the lid, it will go all over the place, because these foods are living foods, right? They're actually alive, and that's the wonderful thing about them. The microbes and the wee lactobacillus bacteria that are on the carrots, they start to break down the sugars in the carrots, and they create all sorts of incredible beneficial stuff for us. So to give your digestion a wee bit of a rest, if you eat foods that are fermented, they're literally pre-digested, so you get way more benefit from them. Plus, they are absolutely teeming with trillions of these wee beneficial bacteria. Now, I'll just say first up that the one thing that I find most people are worried about when it comes to fermenting things is that they're going to poison themselves, or they're going to get the wrong bacteria, because we're generally scared of bacteria. But what I will say is, if you follow the instructions that I give you exactly, you're adding the right level of salt, you're keeping oxygen out, there's no way that environment is really hostile to any pathogenic bacteria. So your E. coli, salmonella, any of these things, listeria, you're not going to get them in a jar of fermented veggies. I mean, people get food poisoning from eating salad that's, you know, that's contaminated with E. coli, but you won't get it in a fermentation environment. It's actually the safest way to preserve anything, because it's only these wee tough guy lactobacillus bacteria that are in it. And once they start to ferment the carrots, they produce acid. So that means then you've got salt and acid, and that's a double negative whammy for the pathogenic guys, the bad guys. So you can rest assured that you're absolutely not going to poison yourself. So again, you don't have to sterilize jars or anything else. Just make sure they're clean, and you've rinsed out any soap residues. That's all you need to do. Once you've done that, then you're good to go. So a glass jar, preferably with a clip top lid. Now, what you can do if you're doing, like, you can do just a simple carrot kraut, which is just carrots and salt, but that's actually really boring. I would never do that. For gut health, it's all about diversity. So what other things can you add that are going to have benefits for health and is going to make your ferment taste better? So what I'm going to show you this morning is actually an Indian-inspired carrot kraut, which is actually one of my favourite ones. Because you've got tons of other things in it, it keeps really well. It's absolutely delicious, and all the other ingredients have loads of benefits as well. So we're going to add, we've got turmeric, which everybody knows beats drugs hands down for literally everything. You can use fresh or powdered. I've got powdered turmeric. I'm going to add some black pepper because that helps with the absorption of curcumin, which is in the turmeric. That's what gives it the all of its health benefits. And you don't actually absorb much of that curcumin at all if you just take turmeric on its own. Turmeric and black pepper massively increases the absorption of it. Fermenting it also really massively increases how much benefit you're going to get from it. So that's why adding it to a ferment is a brilliant idea as well, because you just get more benefits. Other ones we're going to add is garlic. Absolutely love garlic. Nature's antibiotic, incredible stuff. And again, that just works so well in a ferment. I'm going to add some ginger, another thing that's fantastically anti-inflammatory, brilliant for this time of year as well. It's quite warming. I love ginger. It's a really lovely thing, and I use it all the time as well. It also goes brilliantly in a ferment. I'm going to add some cumin seeds, and I'm going to add some mustard seeds to this carrot kraut, because again, these have all got benefits. All herbs, all spices, all contain polyphenols and different bioactive compounds that really work and support our health. And the more of them we can get in, the different varieties that we can get in, the more benefits we'll get for our health. So again, that's why I just add a load of things. Chili flakes, that's another one that's really good. I'm a bit of a chili wimp, I have to admit, but adding a few chili flakes, again, just as lovely. If you like spicy stuff, you can add a bit more chili. Right, so without further ado, I'm going to show you. Again, I can't quite see the angle of this. I don't know if you can see me right, but this is my bowl. Now, I have a kilogram of carrots, right? So I've weighed mine, and I'm going to take the kilogram of carrots and put them in my bowl. And again, it really is quite essential that you make sure you've weighed your vegetables, because one of the key things when you're fermenting anything is to get the level of salt right. So you don't just randomly throw in some salt. You want to weigh it, and you need to add the right amount. The safe amount when you're fermenting anything is between 1.5% and 2.5%. So that's the weight of your vegetables. I've got a kilogram of carrots here, so I'm going to add 2% salt, which is 20 grams, which I know because I've weighed my salt. So I know that 20 grams is a sort of rounded tablespoon. Right, it's about that much, and I know that because that's how much that salt weighs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle that on the carrots. Carrots are incredibly juicy, so it really doesn't take long to get the brine out of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my gloves on because I'm adding turmeric to this, and I don't like how it stains my fingers all yellow, then it looks as if I'm a smoker, which I'm not. Right, so get my gloves on. So if you have scales, guys, if you don't have scales, just buy a kilogram bag of carrots, and just grate them, and then add roughly a rounded tablespoon. I did have somebody once who actually came along to a workshop. No, she didn't. She did, I think it was an online one or something, or she had followed one of my YouTube videos, and she said, my kraut's really, really salty. And I said, well, it shouldn't. It should be a bit salty, but it's not. It shouldn't taste really salty. And I said, how much salt did you add? And she said 200 grams. So she'd added 10 times the amount of salt that she should have added. So not even the wee tough guy lactobacillus bacteria can survive in that salt. Right, so what I've done is I've added in my 20 grams of salt. And what we do, what the salt does is it creates a selective environment just for the wee lactobacillus guys, just the wee tough guys. And again, I'll go back and say that pathogenic bacteria can't survive in that level of salt. I'll take the wee big, I've got some bits that are big, take them out. So what we're doing is, and the salt also starts to pull out the water out of the cell walls. So you don't add any water. All you do is you start to massage the salt, and it really doesn't take long at all when you do. Carrots are incredibly juicy, and this literally takes a couple of minutes. You can see already, like, if you can see that. And again, what you have to do is make sure that you've got loads of brine. So don't, you know, just do it for a second and then think that'll do. It's a wee bit of a workout. Just give it a good squash. I do find massage therapists are very good at massaging veggies with salt. They've got good, strong hands, right? You can see that already. There's loads of brine coming out of that. Right, the mantra for fermenting veggies is under the brine and all is fine. So you need to make sure that you've got enough brine that when you pack the veggies into the jar, they're going to be totally covered in that brine. And again, bear in mind that that's what protects your ferments from mold. If you haven't got enough brine and you've got vegetables that are not underneath the brine, I can guarantee you'll get cam, yeast or mold on them. And that is absolutely not what you want. So you can see there's quite a lot of brine already. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my other ingredients. Right, so what I'm doing is, and again, I'm adding garlic, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to zest the garlic in. You don't want to add big lumps, because again, it's a surface area thing. So the finer you have it in, the more flavour you'll get. So don't put big lumps in. If you've got a garlic press, just use that. You have to watch you don't grate your gloves. Right. Oh. And then I'm going to zest the ginger in as well. What I would do is, if I'm doing about 1 kilogram of carrots, I would tend to zest in probably 2 garlic cloves. And I've got a big chunk of ginger here, but that's a bit big. So what I'll do with that is usually about a tablespoon of ginger. But if you like ginger, you can add more. But ginger can be quite spicy, to be honest. And sometimes less is more when you're fermenting things. You know, if you don't want to add too much, because flavours do change when you ferment them. Right, so I'm going to add in, and this is a wee fine zester that I've got, which is quite handy. But again, if you don't have a zester or a fine grater, you can just finely chop it. Right, I think that'll be enough. Right, you can see that's nice and fine in the back of that. Right, so it smells lovely too. Right, so that's my ginger and garlic. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add turmeric, and I've just got the powdered turmeric, so I'm going to add about a teaspoon. Don't add too much because it can be a bit overpowering. I'm adding about a teaspoon. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of mustard seeds. Right, mustard seeds are a bit of an acquired taste, so if you don't like them, you don't need to add them. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons because, again, I just like adding them for the diverse points. I'm going to add cumin. Cumin seeds are great. I'm going to add a tablespoon of cumin seeds. And then I'm going to add some chilli flakes, but as I've said, I'm a bit of a wimp when it comes to chilli, so I'm only going to add a wee sprinkling. That's enough for me. And then I'll add some black pepper, and that helps with the absorption of the curcumin from the turmeric. Right, that is. Right, so what I'm going to do is just give it another good old mix. Let's get loads of brine from it now. Right, generally speaking, 1 kilogram of carrots is enough to fit into a 1 litre size jar. Right, that's a litre size jar I've got. Because you don't want to have a great big jar and only have half full of ferment. I see people doing that quite a lot, and that's not a good idea because the rest of the jar is oxygen, and we're trying to keep oxygen out. Right, so that's fine. I'll take that out. Just try a bit. That's so delicious. Right, got my jar. And what I'm going to do now is pack it in. I'm going to pack it in a wee handful at a time, and I'm pressing it down. Pressing it down so that the brine's coming up. You know, if you can see it. I'll move it there. Right, so again, this is the key thing, is you want to get all that brine in there. It really just tastes amazing. But if you want, you can do carrot kraut and just do zesty ginger and garlic. You don't need to add all the other things. I just like to add them. Right, you can see that's I hold that up, you can see all that brine in that. So I'm going to, and what you do is don't fill the jar right to the top. Leave a little bit of a gap, a couple of centimetres at the top. Don't fill it, but squash it right down. Get all the air out. Right, I think that's about right. And if you've got any left in your bowl, just eat it. It's delicious. Right, so I'm going to leave that at that. Right, so that's all my carrots in the jar. Loads of brine, it's really juicy. If I hold that up, you can see. What I'm going to do now is, what happens is if you don't hold those vegetables underneath that brine, and carrots are particularly bad for this, they'll float up and you'll get something called canned yeast, which is really, it's not dangerous, but it tastes horrible. It tastes yeasty. It's a wild yeast, and it can be a precursor to mold, which you don't want. So one of the things I actually love to do is you need to weigh your vegetables down. See if you've got a butternut squash, you can cut the bottom end off, and then that fits right in the top of the jar, and it acts like a little lid. You need to just trim it slightly. You trim it so that it fits right in the top, and then that sinks down and it keeps all your carrots underneath that brine. So that's a brilliant idea. If you don't have a butternut squash, what else you can do is, if you've got, and again, what I do in the summer is, if you've got a cabbage leaf, you can trim a cabbage leaf to go round. A wee Ziploc bag actually works in the top. You can sit that in. If you've got one of these wee goo pots, you can stick that. It just depends on how much carrot kraut you've got, because obviously if you're going to sit that in the top of your jar, it's going to squash a lot of it down, but that will fit in the top as well. So that is a key thing. And I've got a wee glass fermenting weight as well that you can work with. So you really need to push something in, but the butternut squash works perfect. So you can see that, it's a really lovely colour. And then what you do after you've done that, you've got it all weighed down. So if you have a wee bag, you can just scrunch a bag in the top. You can fill it with like baking beans, or you could just fill it with some brine. If you want to do that, you just make it the same brine concentrations that you've got in the jar. So just dissolve a teaspoon of salt in a cup of water, dissolve that. You can set your wee bag in the top and you can fill that with brine. And it means then if it leaks out, it's the same as the brine you've got in the jar. What you do then is you just clip it shut. What you then have to do is you want to sit it with a bowl underneath it, because it will, sometimes the brine will come out. It does leak out and you don't want to have it all over your cupboard. So if you just put it in a bowl underneath it. Carrot kraut is best really, but 7 days. Don't leave it much longer than 7 days, because it can go a wee bit mushy, which I'm not a massive fan of. 7 days is enough to develop all those amazing flavours, and those wee lactobacillus guys will start multiplying. And that's one of the things that bacteria are incredibly good at, and that is multiplying given the right conditions. And that's exactly what we've done in that jar. We've added all sorts of wonderful herbs that will repel any pathogens, so they just can't get in it. So and once you've got, what I was going to say, once you've fermented it, so 7 days, right, and that should taste absolutely delicious. What you do then is, I would transfer it into smaller jars to store in the fridge, because again, a big mistake that people make is they have a big jar of ferments, they bring it out, stick a fork in, eat some, open the lid, leave it open to the air, then shove it back in the fridge. Right, so that isn't a good idea. What you want to do with your precious ferment, once you've made it, is put it into smaller jars. If it's only you that's eating it in the house, then do smaller jars, just open one jar at a time. But we tend to eat tons of ferment, so just keep any of your glass jars, any at all, just make sure they're clean, and then transfer your lovely kraut into your jars along with the brine, because the brine is absolutely delicious and it's teeming with probiotic bacteria as well. You don't need to make sure it's under the brine once it's fermented and it goes in the fridge, but keep the brine because it's got tons of flavour and benefits and it's totally delicious.
Brilliant, Janice. I never actually thought about taking it from the big jar into the wee jars, because that's what one thing that I always find is actually how you make sure you've always got some, instead of doing what I normally do, you run out and then you're like, damn.
You know, that's the thing, Lilia, but the thing is, I start to find, I mean, I've got so many different ferments, but this is a good thing about a carrot kraut, because it's literally 7 days.
Yes.
But that is the thing, Lilia, because really, as I said, carrots are quite prone to getting that cam yeast, and it's that white yeast that you get. It usually starts as a film in the top, but you can get it in carrot kraut as well sometimes, and you can see it through the jar. It's not dangerous, but it tastes yeasty, and it just doesn't taste nice. I mean, ferments taste absolutely delicious. They're fresh and zingy and salty, and they've got that real just fermented tang that you don't get anywhere else. But if you do keep bringing your jar out and in and out and in, I can guarantee, especially if it's carrots, you'll get cam yeast on it. The good thing is with this Indian variety as well, because of all the other spices, you know, with the garlic, ginger and the chilli, that keeps so well in the fridge if you add all those other things to it. And I've noticed, because I make carrot kraut with loads of different things. I do one with like sea buckthorn and chervil because I've got tons of it in the garden. I do all sorts. You can add other things to it. The key thing is get the salt right. You know, weigh your carrots, as fresh carrots as possible, get the salt, get some brine, and then have a look and say, well, what flavours do I like? Don't add things that you don't like, because what's the point of that? That's just daft. But having said that, mustard seeds, although I put them in it, they do have quite a distinctive flavour, and some people don't like the carrot kraut, the Indian one, and it's because of the mustard seeds. So if you don't have mustard seeds, just leave them out if you're not sure if you like them. You know,
see when you go into when they go into the fridge in the smaller jars, how long? I mean, they're so delicious they don't last long. But if you're living on your own and you're maybe in and out, how long?
Honestly, that Indian one, the carrot krauts, as long as your jars are sealed and you're not bringing them out and in and out and in, if you've got your weird jars, they'll keep for months, Lilia.
Fantastic.
Honestly, months. And again, as I said, I have noticed it's if you add the other spices, they're all antimicrobial against the bad guys. So if you've got the chilli and the turmeric and the ginger and the garlic, yeah, that'll last. Honestly, in my opinion, in my experience, carrot. Well, as I said, we usually eat it all, but carrot kraut lasts longer without going off because carrots are prone to getting cam yeast. And if you just did a carrot and salt one, that might not last as long. But if you add the other things, you'll have it for months.
But she said you could just even eat that as is with a spoonful, because that's the next question. How many tablespoons per day to really feed the good army in the tummy jungle?
Well, to be honest, I mean, it's like, you know, everybody's slightly different. If you just have a spoonful a day, that's enough to kickstart, you know, that better balance, because they're teeming with these wee probiotic lactobacillus bacteria, you know, so really a spoonful a day is enough to start with. And the thing is as well, you know, if you're not used to eat fermented foods, you know, sometimes these good guys get into your gut and you end up with World War II, you know, because they're trying to displace the bad guys. They don't go without a fight. So you have to pace yourself. I mean, I could eat jars of sauerkraut. I just love this stuff. I couldn't imagine not eating it. But I would say a wee word of caution, like everything else, it's not a one size fits all thing. So I would say to anybody, just start off with a wee spoonful. I mean, I have it for breakfast. If I'm having, like, say, my sourdough with avocado, a poached egg, I'll have a side of sauerkraut with it. Absolutely. You know, if I'm having a wrap or a sandwich, or even if you're having soup, you can have it, don't boil it up, but you can serve it a blob of it in your soup and you're still getting all the benefits.
Now, the other thing I've been encouraging our team to do is to share, you know, if you've got a few friends. So you could say, right, this month I'm going to make, a carrot kraut and an ordinary kraut or whatever, and share it around and make it easy, because, you know, most of us want to eat healthily. But the reality is life gets in the way, and especially young kids or maybe aging parents, etc. So, but there's always a way, as you and I well know, if you really want to achieve something, you'll do it. So, you know.
But that's the other thing, Lily, I was going to say is, you know, people that have got like KitchenAid, like food processors and stuff, they never use them, but they're continually saying, I don't have time. Literally, if you've got, it takes literally 2 minutes. Get a bag of carrots. You don't peel them, give them a rinse. Whack them through a food processor into a bowl, add some salt, and even, to be honest, if you're short of time, add the salt, cover the bowl with a tea towel, go away and do something else. And when you come back, that salt will already have started to cool.
Yes.
And it takes 2 minutes. And that's the thing. And you and I know, Lilia, we all make excuses. I don't have time, I can't do that. But I can tell you that the difference that getting fermented foods into your life, it's incredible. And I'm, like yourself, totally passionate about it. And I will tell anybody, you know, that really, and the science is catching up with it now. Years ago, when I was doing this, the science wasn't there. It is there now. These foods are absolutely transformational. These wee microbes transform veggies into superfoods, and they've got the power to transform our health. And I've seen it on with so many people that I know it's possible.
You're giving the body the building bricks from nature that it needs to restore.
Exactly. But I mean, that's exactly the thing. And once you start, but as I said, I honestly could not imagine my life without eating fermented stuff. And as I said, I'm the best version of myself when I eat this, because what I'm doing is I'm feeding the good guys. So it's the good guys that are allowing me to make better choices for myself.
Yes.
You know, and you know, with all your EFT stuff, it's so interesting, you know, that the excuses that we make, and I do it as well. I do it, but you know, the key thing is with me, the one thing that I will not compromise on is getting the fermented foods in my life. I just won't, because I know that if I stop it, I'm going to start going back down and thinking, oh, I don't feel so good. Oh, I'm just going to go and eat chocolate. I'm just going to go and eat. And I know that if I eat these foods, and they're so vibrant, I mean, look at them. Why wouldn't you eat it?
Colour, but also the cost, Janice, because that's a real issue for people right now. It's so cheap to make and it's so delicious. Now, there's a few questions here. Let me just go through. Somebody said that IKEA has got the Kilner jars on sale at the moment, so that might be helpful. Can you purp normal jars if that's all you have at the moment?
Yeah, you can do, but again, carrots are prone to that cam yeast, Lilia, so they are probably more likely to get that. If you're going to use a normal jar, make sure that, and the thing is as well, could you see when I was doing that, I can get my hand in that jar and all in. See, if you're using a smaller jar, you can't get you really want to cram it down so that you don't have any air in it. You could maybe use one of those big things from a pestle and mortar or something. But I mean, to be honest, absolutely give it a go. If somebody wants to make it and they don't have a jar, as long as you've got a kind of biggish jar. And again, don't use a massive jar and half fill it with carrots. Yes. And also don't use a tiny wee jar and then have the carrots right up to the top. If those carrots are sticking out and they're not underneath that brine, you'll get cam yeast on it.
Now, there's another couple of questions about the fridge. So clearly, when the first ferment is outside the fridge, the temperature will affect how long that'll take. Is that right? And then the second ferment, when you take it from the big jar into the smaller jars, it goes into the fridge and then it can stay there for months. But if it stays there for months, it's not delicious enough. You need to be.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because the point is, and I say this to people all the time, you can make it, but it's not going to do you any actual good unless you actually eat it. So, you know, don't just make it and shove it in your fridge. You know, think, oh, it's lovely to have a sound thing there. You know, so in my opinion,
for some people, it's a new habit. So it's a bit like taking supplements. You know, you have to have it somewhere. You need to remind yourself, you know, this is, and also, you know, like what I'm talking about with them is at night, not eating that last thing at night to give the body that rest. And you know, when you start to really be educated and understand, then you're going to get the placebo effect as well, which is that I'm doing this amazing stuff for this energy system that's really going to bring it to life and vitality. Right.
I know.
So, and now, can we just run over the salts again?
Yeah, so sure.
You use Himalayan. Would sea salt be okay?
Yeah, see, any natural salt is fine, Lilia. The only thing, table salt has got additives in it. Table salt is just pure sodium. The other salts have got trace minerals in them, and they taste better. They just taste better. You know, so you don't want to be starting off your ferment adding something that's got anti-caking agents and whatever else in it. So again, as I said, you can buy the fine pink Himalayan salt. Home Bargains and B&M have got it, and it's like £1. You know, so it's not expensive. If you've got any other natural salt, it's fine, but don't use big lumps of salt. So if you've rock salt or any other salt, as long as it's a natural salt and it's not got additives in it, You need to make sure it's fine though, because it's a surface area thing. The finer it is, you know, the faster it will pull the brine out of the veggies. And it's the same for the veggies. If you've got them grated, you've got a bigger surface area, and because carrots are sweet, they ferment really pretty fast. So
Yes.
literally 7 days, that's all you need.
Now, can you talk to us about, because you've created a phenomenal tribe in your hub,
Yeah.
which is just like, it's just skyrocketing, isn't it? I mean, it's so
I know.
fantastic to watch, really getting people into it. So for anybody that's maybe not in your hub yet, can you just explain what that membership, because it just costs like a couple of pounds a week, is it? Or two?
I mean, I set it up it's over a year ago, Lily. I've now got 220 people. And the idea behind it was, I know, as I said, that not everybody's money, but for me, it was sometimes giving everything away for free. And it's like getting people to make a commitment to their health. It's £12 a month. You can cancel at any time. And in that, we've just built up this incredible community. I can't explain it. It's the most wonderful thing. And it is like a tribe. And, you know, we're doing a gut reset at the moment, and we get such engagement in the group. And it's brilliant. And all I'm doing is, you know, sharing, you know, and it's not about judging anybody. It's not about, oh, you can't do this and you shouldn't do that. You know, and all I share is it's all about gut health, but it's how I'm living my life. It's about foraging, it's about fermenting, it's about making better choices, it's about, you know, educating people about all the absolute crap that's out there, as you know, when it comes to food. I'm not selling anything. I don't sell supplements or anything else. I'm just trying to share my knowledge. And that's worked so well that we've now got an amazing community of people. We do different challenges every month. We have different guest speakers on every month. I need to get you on, actually, Lilia. You know, and again, there's a massive load of recipes there. There's all sorts of resources. We've got a natural living section on the wellness. We have a Facebook group, again, which we just have a lot of engagement on. I just pop in and do wee live videos. That's where I do all my wee live chats. So we cover a different topic every month. You know, whether we've done like gluten-free, we've covered sourdough. This month it's all about gut health and gut reset. Next month's going to be all about fermenting. It's going to be fermenting February. You know, and it's just the best fun. I can't explain the joy that it gives me, Lilia, because I'm seeing people totally reversing health issues that they've had for years, that they've been told they can't change. They're just making better choices. And then the thing is, once you start to eat these foods, they're totally delicious. I mean, they really are. I love food, and I'm a massive foodie, and I don't eat food that's boring. I just don't, because life's too short, and food's a massive part of my life, as you know. And once people start, you know, eating these foods like that, oh my God, they have to tell everybody else. Before you know it, everybody's away buying jars, and it just makes my heart sing. I can't explain. And there's somebody else. Oh, great! Look at all the jars that I've got, and I've made this and I've made that. And it's just incredible, because that's what it is. It's taking that first step, making a commitment, drawing a line in the sand and saying, well, look, I'm fed up, feeling, you know, not great. I feel better the older I get. I really do. I'm 63, and I feel, you know, as I get older, I've got, like you, Lily, I've got no intention of getting any disease anytime soon. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing everything that I can to support my body. And I am so lucky. I have no problems at all with my health. I sleep great. I've got great energy. My skin's good. My digestion's great. You know, and it's like I don't have inflammation anywhere. And that is testament to the way that I eat. And it's not just luck. You know, people say, oh, you're just lucky. Nothing to do with luck.
No. Well, you're very like Claire. It's the way you live, and all you've done is taken your passions and brought them out. There's something that Kate Cowan's saying, the Wellness Hub is just the best thing ever for health and wellness. Delicious food, and the camaraderie and support is just phenomenal. But you know, that's really about you, Janice. But what you're doing is you're inspiring every single day, and then you're reminding people to keep doing it, because we forget, right? We're all excited about a new idea, and like, and hopefully there'll be carrot kraut getting made all over Scotland today.
Well, I hope so.
Keeping that up and keeping it up and keeping it up and keeping it up. And that's where most of us fall down. And that's what your tribe, your community are doing. And suddenly you see a new idea and you think, God, why have I not done that? So you're reminding people over and over again.
The other thing it's about as well, Lily, I mean, I think, you know, people, you don't need hundreds of recipes. I've got a core of amazing recipes. I change it up seasonally because I'm into seasonal eating, which goes with the foraging side of it. And it's like, I make like pestos, spices all year round, mix it up with different things. And again, it's like people think, food's complicated. It really isn't. The number of things that I make that I'm just whacking things in a blender and blending them up and then thinking, how else can I use that? I mean, that spicy book sauce that I shared in the Hill Scotland, that is the most delicious thing. You can add it to anything, add it to your oven roast veggies, add it to your hummus, put it into some Greek yogurt, you've got a beautiful dip, and it tastes absolutely delicious, and it's packed with all the good stuff. You just start feeling dead smug, I'll tell you. That's what you just go about with a big smile on your face because you think, I've just ate something that's totally delicious and I've supported my health. So you feel quite smug. I go about smiling at myself, like, oh, I've just had my breakfast, totally delicious. And the thing is, it's about reminding people. It's about having, constant wee things pop up in the Facebook group. Oh, is anybody doing this? And just sharing what I'm doing. And I'm not suggesting that anybody's got the time, that I've got, but that my health's my top priority. It always will be. So I might not exercise as much as I should do, but I always make sure that I eat well. And that is my thing. When you find your thing, and as I said, I was a bit ahead of my time with all the gut health stuff because I've been doing this stuff for about probably 12 years now. And now, as I said, the science is catching up with it, Lily. When I was doing it before, it was like, we all try it. I mean, and trying to share with people the benefits that I've noticed and just from, doing other stuff. But, you can't deny it.
20 years I've been banging on and on and on, and only now people are starting to understand about PTSD and stories and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we're both 63 and we're both coming into this.
I know, I'm just getting started in my life, that's the thing, and I'm like that, you know what, my life's just getting going because my girls are, and as you say, people have got, commitments and stuff. I don't, my girls are grown up, we don't have elderly parents, our parents have all died, so, I've got the freedom to live the life that I want in my terms. And the other thing, Lily, you as well, is see as you get older, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about me. I don't care. I'm trying to share what I know works for me. And if people, don't want to listen, that's fine. They don't need to listen. I don't want to waste my time trying to persuade people and tell people these foods are delicious. And then as you say, you get them, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. So well, that's your choice then. And it is a choice because we have to eat and drink numerous times a day. And in my opinion, it is like that's an opportunity. Who are you feeding? The good guys, or are you feeding the bad guys? Are you creating disease or are you preventing it? And that's what it comes down to.
And it's simple as that, isn't it? And I think the way Peter D'Adamo talks, it's either poison, neutral, or medicine.
Absolutely.
Talking about that this week.
Absolutely right. And as you say, it's also about all the crap we tell ourselves, all the stupid stories. And that's, as I say, everybody does it. I used to tell myself, well, can I do the cold? I remember the time I came up and you made me go in that cold. And I was like, oh God, she's going to make me go in the cold. And but after that, I know I'm just being stupid. After I just get over myself, I thought, do you know what? It's not actually that bad.
Well, that's very often what happens, isn't it? And then it's just creating that new habit. And I think with intermittent fasting, we're talking about if you're taking a habit out, put a good one in, replace the habit.
Right. Absolutely right. And
the other thing, watching you interact, it's like chocolat, interact with the food, the energetic stuff that we can't measure. It was made with this pure intention and this level of energy that the biofield viewer, which you've not seen yet, is just incredible. You can literally see the light, how everything starts to lighten up when it comes from nature.
I know, but that's it. Nature's got us covered, as we know. But what we're doing here when we're fermenting things, we're taking things from nature and we're making it better. Because what we're doing is we're adding a whole load. Things are pre-digested. They store for ages, and they're full of blooming lactobacillus bacteria. These wee tough guys, and these are the guys that are responsible for creating butyrate, which literally heals inflammation anywhere. As we know, every chronic disease has got inflammation at its core. So the more of these guys you can get into your gut, the more butyrate is going to be produced, the more your gut lining will be able to heal, the more your body will be able to heal as well, and you just feel better.
And
You
I'm
know, and
sure
it's,
that you know, like we know a lot of autoimmune and MS is very prevalent
yeah,
and stuff like that. And even if you're not promising people they can heal the whole label, you can certainly make, regardless of what you've been told or whatever, you can feel better than you feel right now by making these choices.
absolutely. Of
You
course
know,
you can.
the whole goal is not dying. The goal
No,
actually
no,
is today. Can you feel better today? Because that's all we ever
absolutely.
have. So
Absolutely right. And that's the thing with the gut microbiome as well. It's in constant flux. It's not a static thing. So, you know, people that think, oh, well, I'll just go and get some probiotics, I'll take them, then I'll be fine. No, you blooming won't, because it's in constant flux
yeah,
according to the food you're eating, the thoughts you're having, are you outside, you know, all the different things. So again, you know, it's like what you eat today creates who you are today and who you are tomorrow. And I know that if I stopped eating the way that I do, I would sort of slowly slide back. But I mean, I did the Zoe thing a good few months ago, and when I had the gut microbiome thing back, I had none of the bad bacteria that they were measuring for, not even a trace of any of them, because I was pleased about that, because I thought if my gut microbiome test hadn't come back as excellent, I'd have been so embarrassed I wouldn't have told anybody. So I was, but no, it did. It came back. It was honestly, I didn't have even a trace of any of the common bad guys, right? But I know that that's because this is the way the food that I eat, and I'm also not eating the stuff that's damaging my gut microbes, because I
yeah.
don't eat processed stuff like you. I only eat real food.
But I think another thing to really ram home, because this is one of the things, you know, is the body. It takes time for the body to heal. But if you stopped eating like that, you would regress the way any of us would. It's like brushing your teeth.
Of course,
You
it
know,
is.
it's all about these daily practices. And you know, if
Yeah.
you have a tablespoon of that, a
Uh-huh.
teaspoon to start with, up to a tablespoon, a couple of tablespoons a day, you're putting money in the bank.
Of course it is. And the thing is, you can change your gut microbiome around in a matter of days. It's not
Absolutely.
months. Honestly, you can
Sustaining it.
change it around in a matter of days. And if you know, just start doing one thing, then think, and again, what I was going to say, Lily, I've got my YouTube channel. There's loads of other ferments you can make. Tomato salsa is more one I do in the summer, but it's totally blooming delicious. And that's a
Yeah.
fast ferment. And, you know, if you're having that, I mean, as I said, people think that, you know, you're eating food that's boning. It's anything but boning. It wakens up your taste buds. It makes you feel great, and it makes you make better choices for yourself, because, as I've said, your cravings come from your gut. So I don't crave sweet stuff and rubbish. Okay, I mean, I eat chocolate sometimes, but, you know, and I drink wine, but, you know, I know that I crave when I wake up in the morning. It's this kind of stuff is what I crave. And I know that's because of all the wee, you know, my wee army of gut buddies thinking, "Can you give us some food? Because I'm not doing anything unless you feed me."
Yeah. And I think that for me, you know, the maintenance is so important, because it's the, you know, the daily practices. And, you know, I remember when I used to teach aerobics, the cholesterol test came in. Well, we all very quickly worked out you could eat a certain way before you get the test and have your cholesterol where you wanted it to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and it's like, that's really not the point.
No, I know.
It's, you know, it's this just, you know, just daily repetition, daily
I
repetition.
know, that's it. But as you say all the time, Lily, I mean, I love your lies, and like, God, you just speak so much sense. We're just kidding ourselves on, you know. And as you say, people that tell you stuff, and again, like you, people say, "Oh, I have a healthy diet." Oh, well, you know, what do you eat? And you're like, "That's anything but blooming healthy. I think that's healthy." You know, but I already do, you know. And but anyway, it doesn't. We're all just trying to be the best version of ourselves, and that's all we can ever be. But it's
This
not
is
difficult.
getting this information out. We're talking about basic things anybody can buy in their supermarket. And I love the way you always give the variations. You know, if you can't get organic, and very often you can't, so what?
No, doesn't
Steep them
matter.
in
Just
apple
get
cider
fresh.
vinegar, get them grated up,
I
and
know.
just get on with it, because it's so easy to say,
Absolutely.
I've not got the right juicer, I've not got the
No,
right jar, I've not got the right this. And it's just
I
like,
know.
no, just get on
I
with it.
know. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. But as I said, there's other ones on my YouTube channel. I made actually one of the ones that I'd made at Christmas. I think I made it up myself, called it Sproutchi. It was Brussels sprout kimchi. Oh my God, it was totally delicious.
What
Everybody
was
loved
it?
it. That's not on my YouTube channel, but I did share it in the Heal Scotland thing. But again, Brussels
Oh,
sprouts, they're not really in the shops now, because I think we've missed them, because they're
yeah,
usually just
I
around at
love them.
Christmas. But but kimchi is another really fast ferment. If people that like spicy stuff, that's actually kimchi.
Kimchi's my favourite, I have to say.
It's so nice, and again, it's great from a diversity point of view because you've got different things in it. And this is my thing, if you're doing like, like a simple kraut, but why would you just do cabbage and salt when you can add all sorts of other things, that are going to benefit your health and will make it taste better. And it's not any more time than adding a tablespoon of something or a squeeze of something else.
Yeah.
But the key thing is, though, with anything that you're fermenting, any veggies, is weigh the veggies and work out what 2% salt is. Once you've got the salt in, then you can have a bit of fun adding different things. Not everything works right enough. The only time I made a ferment and it was horrible was at Christmas, and I'd put, like, the usual, get all excited, thought, oh, I put cloves and cinnamon and all sorts of stuff, totally overdone it. And I opened it up, it tasted like pot puree. It was horrible. I don't do that anymore. So sometimes less is more. But roughly speaking, if you're doing like a kilogram of veggies, carrots or cabbage, if you're adding any like cumin seeds or mustard seeds or caraway seeds, go for about a tablespoon. Don't pile up tons of it because flavours do change, as you ferment things. But again, it's a personal taste. But even as I said, if you're doing something simple, you don't have any, add some garlic, because garlic's brilliant and it works brilliantly well in a ferment. It really does.
Yeah. Well, listen, thanks an absolute million for giving us this time today. I really so appreciate your time and your expertise and your passion and all these amazing recipes. And I will put we've gone out now on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, etc., all the pages. So I'll put all your details in. I can see somebody that's fallen in love with you already. And yeah, and exactly. I mean, people always, when they come to the Wild Medicine Cafe, say you should make a recipe book. I just chunk things in, and that can be difficult. But I think if you just start with the kraut, and then you can say, well, let me try some ginger, or let me try a little bit of turmeric.
And that's the thing. But again, is what I would say, Lilia, is the key thing with fermenting anything is make sure you're using the freshest stuff. Make sure your jar's clean and just weigh it and work out what 2%.
Weigh your salt. You need to know the ratio.
You have to know the ratio. And again, the reason for that is because if you don't add enough salt, the chances are pathogenic bacteria might survive in it. Right. So the safe ratio is 1.5 to 2.5%. 2% is easier to work out. So I always go for 2%. And that's easy to work out. But the reason for that is because that ensures that pathogenic bacteria can't survive. It's only these wee tough lactobacillus guys. So if you're just winging it and adding a wee bit of salt and thinking that'll do, you're setting yourself up to possibly, fail, and you won't have a great sauerkraut. So if you want to have totally delicious sauerkraut or fermented veggies, just follow a few simple rules. But as I've said, it's the salt that's the key thing. Then you can add other bits and pieces if you want.
Medicine. That's the thing. And I think, for some people, it's still, we've been obviously into this for a long time, but food is medicine. Somebody's just put up with a healed ulcerative colitis, which again, a lot of people will be told is incredible. And if you get as frustrated as I do with this, try these different things. You will definitely feel better. And keep it up. That's the thing. Well, listen, Janice, we've been on here for over an hour now, so thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Nice pleasure.
I'll see you at the festival anyway, but I hope to catch up with you soon. And I'm coming back on here live at 1 o'clock to talk about the macros and the micros, the combination of fats, proteins, carbohydrates, balancing hormones, losing weight, gaining energy. So I'll say bye for now, and whoever's interested in come back on, I'll see you at 1.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Janice. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Thanks, you can keep an eye and answer any questions, or I'll let you know.
Yeah, that's right. I can't see without my glasses. Right. Cool. Right. Bye.